Tucker Carlson realized that the coronavirus is possibly going to hurt his stock portfolio and that the people really suffering the consequences of this pandemic are poor people and people of color. And so now all of a sudden his commentary is very different from what you could expect in the beginning of the pandemic. He is arguing that these stay-at-home orders are unnecessary and that they've done nothing to slow the spread of COVID-19. Here's his rant, and then we're going to debunk it.
There you have it. Jeb Bush's dim-witted spokeswoman, now rebranded as an eminent epidemiologist, and she wants you to know, and she expects you to believe, that Democrats put these lockdown orders in place based on, quote, science and data. Okay, we'll take the challenge. What science and data are you talking about exactly? And we'll wait as you rifle through your papers and abstracts, Dr. Wallace. That could take a while because, in fact, there is still no science or data at all after 2 months that these lockdowns have done very much to halt the spread of this virus. Sorry, we wish it were otherwise. You hate to think of all those people suffering for no reason, but it's true. States that lock down early and aggressively are no better off today on average than states that never lock down at all. That's a fact. Those are the data that you're talking about.
Great delivery
all right,
there
so
at the end.
Now let's go to the data that he argues doesn't exist. There's actually multiple examples showing how stay-at-home orders had a positive impact on slowing the spread of the virus. Let's give you an example from the New York Times, and this shows how new daily cases of coronavirus contractions actually shifted relative to stay-at-home orders in a number of places. If you look at this graph, you'll see how that played out. So you have these shutdowns, the stay-at-home orders, and within 2 weeks, you notice the curve flattening and then declining. So you see a declining number of people contracting the virus because they're staying home. If you are staying home and you're not out there in the general public spreading, this lethal virus, which, by the way, is also being spread by asymptomatic individuals, well, then you're preventing yourself from contracting it. You're preventing yourself from spreading it to other family members you're living with. Obviously, stay-at-home orders have been effective. And in some of the states that prematurely opened businesses, we're starting to see a spike in the number of coronavirus cases. Before I get to that, though, including some additional video from Tucker, I want to hear your thoughts, Sean.
Yeah, look, at this point, I'm getting sick of his continually lying about the pandemic and trying to get people to believe things that will result in them supporting politicians who support policies that will get more people killed. I think at this point, he should go back to doing some of the hits, like talking about white genocide against farmers in South Africa and stuff like that. Go back to the white nationalist stuff. But anyway, no, he's a complete fraud. I have no idea why anyone has any respect for him whatsoever, why he has been able to, I guess he's got a good PR person that he's created this sort of myth of being reasonable. He's not. Because of Media Matters and his negative effect with the pandemic, I've had to watch quite a bit of his show, and he's like if John Oliver was a moron and a liar and had never said anything funny his entire life. That's all his show is, basically. It's just a bunch of lies that are trying to delude people into believing things that'll get them killed.
Well, let's see more footage of Tucker Carlson looking like a moron by spreading misinformation that can literally get his own viewers killed.
And by contrast, there is an awful lot of science and data that going outside is vital to your health, and has been for 100 years. We've known that. Exercising outdoors, getting vitamin D from the sun, this makes you healthier and less vulnerable to coronavirus. The virus also spreads far less easily outdoors than it does indoors. Again, this is not speculation, it's fact.
So look, John, it's so irresponsible and so horrible. And look, for anyone who might buy into this dum-dums argument, like the same dum-dum who tried to argue that tacos were not Mexican food, they were American food. Like that's the kind of stuff that he gets involved in. Like that's how dumb like Tucker Carlson is. But here's more data that he apparently is unable to read about. So there was another study, research from Columbia University epidemiologists found if the same kind of social distancing had been in place 7 days earlier, the United States could have prevented 36,000 deaths through early May, about 40% of fatalities reported to date. He's encouraging people to go out there and expose themselves to a potentially lethal virus. It's why does he hate his audience so much?
I've been saying that from the beginning. Yes, he should track down and rifle through that abstract. He apparently missed it in his rigorous research before doing that segment. And understand, he's been saying the same thing for literally weeks, that the lockdowns didn't do anything and in fact might have made it worse. There's been tons of research. He doesn't add it. That's weird. Almost like he's lying to people. Yeah, the entire thing, there's lots of scientific evidence that it's better to be outside. That is true. Getting sunlight and exercise is a good thing. You sort of have to understand the context, though. Like if I were to run into a surgical room in a hospital for somebody who's having like a heart transplant and say, no, he needs sunlight, and wheel him outside, timing is sort of important too. And the thing about, it spreads easier inside than outside. The lockdowns are not designed to stop people from walking down the sidewalk, you massive idiot. It's designed to stop people from congregating in movie theaters and concerts and pool parties and restaurants and all of the places that once they're no longer outside, they'll be inside in places they shouldn't be congregating in. Obviously. And obviously he is at least smart enough to understand that, but he is desperately hoping that his audience is stupid enough not to. That's what he's hoping for. That's the only reason he has a show at all, is a combination of people who are morons and who are racists and want to hear people like them speak on TV. That's it.
And also, I would like to see these incredibly wealthy and privileged millionaires lead by example. If he genuinely thinks that it's safe to go out there and attend some of these mass public gatherings, then let's see him do it. He would never risk his own health or his family's health. He knows what the truth is. Yeah. He knows that what he's saying there is false, and he knows that it does give his audience members misinformation that could really harm them and their families. Yep. But he doesn't care. And that's the word. And the stupid argument that there's no scientific data when there's already an abundance of it, which we've talked about, we've cited on this show multiple times. It's just infuriating. Just one more before we wrap this story up. The Times counted 14 states where the rolling 7-day average of new infections has actually climbed over the last 2 weeks. Narrowing the time frame and focusing on the total weekly case count, Reuters found 20 states reported an increase in new infections during the week ending May 24th, up from 13 states the week before. Want to know why? Because a number of states opened prematurely. They lifted their stay-at-home orders prematurely, Georgia being one of them. And you see the consequences playing out in real time. The data's out there. The question is, do you listen to a moron like Tucker Carlson, or do you listen to the actual scientists and read the data that's put out there for your benefit to keep you and your family safe?
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.